Hi, everybody, and welcome to Heel Heat. My name is George Coles, and on this episode, we're going to talk about Sid Eudy. And you may or may not have seen, unfortunately, at the time of recording this, Sid had just passed away today. You may not know him by his real name. I'm guessing if you don't, you clicked on this because of the thumbnail. In the world of pro wrestling, he was known as Sid Vicious, Psycho Sid, Sid Justice, Lord Humongous in his early days. And I want to talk about it a bit. Now, I know I don't come on here for every wrestling-related death, and they're all tragic and they're all sad. But I do like to come on here when it's someone that affects me and that just makes me sad and makes me reflect. You know, recently we lost Kevin Sullivan. He was a guy that I was an absolute fan of. And Sid's another one of those guys. There was a time in the early 90s, the Skyscrapers, Four Horsemen era, the time him and Vader were teaming up against the Bulldog and Sting, and during that time, Sid was among my favorite wrestlers in the world. And he was never someone you would say that was a great in-ring worker like a Eddie Guerrero or a Dean Malenko, but he had a presence that few other wrestlers ever had. First, it didn't hurt that the guy was like 6'9" or 6'10" legitimately, and massive and just jacked up and scary looking. But there was something there, because there's a ton of those guys that are just huge and scary looking guys that never go anywhere. But for me, Sid, there was something about him, and it could have been the fact that he was using Sid Vicious, which tied him into Sid Vicious from the Sex Pistols, which at the time were a band I was getting into. I was just learning about the Sex Pistols. Being someone that grew up in the 80s and early 90s, I was a young kid, teenager, growing up in liking bands like DRI and Suicidal Tendencies, Black Flag, The Misfits, Minor Threat, The Circle Jerks, the Dead Kennedys, and then hearing about the Sex Pistols, and then finally listening to the Sex Pistols when I found a CD at my local CD store one day and decided to finally buy it, and then loving the Sex Pistols as well. And here's this wrestler with the same name as the bassist from the Sex Pistols. So it automatically gave me a little bit of a tie. And then watching him, and the thing was, the powerbomb at that time, his powerbomb, it wasn't something that everybody was doing. There was a few wrestlers that were doing a powerbomb or a version of it, but Sid's was different. And there's a few people that stand out like that. Kevin Nash, Vader had a powerbomb that stands out. You know, there's people that do this move that basically every wrestler does now, but their version of it is distinct to them. And the whole thing, the big boot, which I know was a Hogan move as well, but his big boot, his powerbomb, his overpowering style, he was just special. And I know there's a lot of people that are going to talk about his highlights and bring up how he had some of the, I guess, best in a bad way kind of promos, especially the one with the We're Live pal with JR, where he asks to restart the promo, or the other one where the half a brain one, which I'm sure you've heard at some point, especially if you clicked on this video. And then there's obviously going to be people that talk about the time he broke his leg in WCW, which is absolutely one of the most horrific ring injuries you're going to see, just short of being paralyzed. But man, he made such an impact on me, and he was a guy that I absolutely loved because he was a master and the ruler of the world, and that was legitimate. To me, going into the 90s, I thought Sid was going to be the huge star of the 90s, and he was a big star. He got to be WCW champion, WWE champion. He was a star everywhere he went. I don't think he quite met that upper echelon, you know, that Stone Cold, Hulk Hogan, Ric Flair level, but he was in that level just below that. And I know I'm getting rambling. I didn't have anything wrote with this. I just wanted to kind of talk about it and talk about why he was special and special to me. I think there's a lot of people my age, maybe even younger, that feel the same way about him, that feel connected to Sid because he was such an important part of our childhood. When I got the Gloob action figures, I wish I still had them. He was always my world champion, him or the Barry Windham figure. And it was just a special time to be a fan, a special time, especially tied into my formative years. Seeing guys like him, seeing guys like Sullivan, Terry Funk last year passing, the guy whose shirt I'm wearing, Bray Wyatt, that hit me hard just because as I get older, seeing people younger than me passing away is kind of a thing that hurts as well. But just remembering Sid and all the fun, Like, all the times I had watching him, whether it be absolutely destroying some unlucky jobber on WCW or facing The Undertaker at WrestleMania, he was always enjoyable. He was always someone I cheered for. I got to see what I consider one of his special moments in his career live. I was at the ECW Guilty as Charged where he made his ECW debut, and I know ECW wasn't his biggest run, but for me to be there for that felt really cool. That was really special to me, and I really enjoyed it. And like I said, I know it's rambling, and I know I'm not making a whole lot of sense here. I just want to come on and talk a bit about Sid and what he meant to me, and how much I'm going to miss the fact that he's out there somewhere. I wish they would have put him in the WWE Hall of Fame before he passed away, because I definitely think he's very much deserving. Hopefully they right that wrong and put him in next year, but we'll see. But anyway, basically that's all I wanted to say. I wanted to get on here, ramble a little bit, talk with you guys. Let me know down in the comments some memories you have of Sid's favorite moments, whether it be something goofy like one of the bad promos, if you love watching that, which I get it, I love watching it too, or one of his matches, whether it be him versus Sting, him versus Undertaker, him versus Hogan, any of the luminaries he went up against. If that's one of your memories, let me know down here in the comments. I just want to say rest in peace, Sid Eudy, and to your friends and family, my prayers are with you. I hope you all have very fond memories of the man, because I'm going to for the rest of my life. I think he was an awesome wrestler. I don't know him personally, I don't know what he was like, but for me, the aura is still there, and he was just a guy I absolutely loved to watch wrestle. But with that being said, my name is George Coles, and you've been watching Heel Heat.